Hi everybody, welcome to another series of International Woman series. And we have Deanna Savage here, which is not only a personal friend of mine, but she is also the founder of Savage Support. So Deanna, thank you so much for being a part of the International Woman series.
Thank you for asking me. It's my honor to be here.
Cool. And also thank you for having me asked me to be on the board of Savage Support, because it's an honor for me to be a part of that. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to get started with the recipe. We're making lamb bolognese, and just because the recipe takes a little while, and Deanna and I will kind of talk intermittently amongst ourselves and to you guys about the recipe, but we need to get it started because it takes quite a while for the recipe to all come together. So lamb bolognese, I guess you can talk while I'm kind of starting about, and let's pour ourselves a glass of wine, right?
Absolutely. I was wondering when that was going to come out. Just a little something to get us cooking in our right minds.
I'm just going to get started with a little bit of sautéing a little bit of garlic in the pan here with some extra virgin olive oil. And
so this dish, I came up with it, and I'm glad you're doing that part because I'm not exactly versed in the kitchen, but this is one of my favorite dishes, and I'm so glad that you've added to it in a way that speaks to my adult self and my fond memories of a warm home and food on the table.
Cheers.
My siblings. Yes, cheers.
So go ahead on your along with where the recipe, why you picked the recipe, or I guess I can also explain a little bit the International Woman series. So what I did is I've asked 12 women to come up with a recipe, and also if they wanted to participate in it. And I was fortunate enough that every woman that I asked said that they would want to participate.
Absolutely.
And I asked them to come up with a dish that meant something to them, either like a childhood memory or just a dish that they have never made and would want to learn how to make. And Deanna came up with lamb bolognese, and then that dish will be featured for the whole month of September, and part of the proceeds from the dish, after food cost and labor cost, go to Savage Support, which you can tell a little bit about Savage Support. Let me tell them about the two other charities.
Sure.
Courage Milwaukee, which is helps the LGBT youth community. And my friend Brad and Nick have started this charity, and they just recently bought a home and have created a shelter for the homeless LGBT community in Milwaukee, which I was just astonished at the amount of youth that we have out there that are homeless. So I know that the money that we are giving and that we are raising is going right to this home that they just bought. I mean, we may be buying a washer and dryer, I don't know, but it's definitely going, right toward this new house. I smell garlic going. And then the next charity is Express Yourself Milwaukee, which is also, I'm just going to put this in because my garlic's going to start to burn. But so I have carrot, celery, onion, fennel, and leek. And I just took all of this and I ground it in the Cuisinart.
Oh, I thought you cut each little piece by hand.
No, that's what makes this recipe so easy.
Nice.
And a normal bolognese does not have fennel or leeks in it, but I love to add that. The fennel adds a little bit of, a little bit of an anise flavor, and I just think it really heightens the flavor of it goes really well with the lamb.
Oh,
so,
great.
So we're
I
just
love fennel, so I'm sure it'll
I think it's really wonderful. And the leek is just, a real gentle onion flavor. So I'm just going to saute this a little bit, and then we're going to add our ground lamb, and that is right here. And I am making a big batch today. So this is 5 pounds of ground lamb that we're adding, because I'm going to sell this at the restaurant.
Oh, good.
tonight.
Oh my
So
gosh.
as long as we're making it.
That's great.
And
That's exciting.
so you can see I'm just
I can
kind of
come in for
sweating
dinner.
these.
Okay.
And then we'll add the ground lamb and just kind of let that brown. And then we're going to add milk, but I add heavy cream because why not?
Why not?
Right?
Go big.
And so we'll let the cream reduce, and then we'll add red wine and let that reduce. And then we add tomato. And I'm just, normally what you would do is add like canned plum tomatoes.
Okay.
But we call it our clear sauce, our tomato sauce, and that's what we use in it. And that's already full of all of our flavors of, there's also a vegetable mix in there, and so it's just adding even more flavor.
Okay.
So I'm gonna add this lamb. And
Look, I'm helping.
thank you. And so now we can
Go
kind of go back
here.
to Express Yourself Milwaukee.
Yes.
It's also youth orientated, but what it is for underprivileged children who just really need something to do like after school, instead of going and hanging out at like McDonald's or out on the street,
Right.
or getting themselves in trouble. They can go to Express Yourself Milwaukee, and they're taught how to play all these different instruments. And then with these instruments, and also art, it's all art orientated. And what they do is all year they work up to this big production that they put on. And so they make all the backdrops for the stage, they make all their own costumes, they play all the instruments, they do all the skits. So it's really a commitment for them, and it really
Absolutely.
makes them feel like they're part of something.
Right.
And I recently went by and I actually went to the studio, and it's just amazing, all the instruments and stuff that they have, and it's a really great charity. And again, they're young, like Savage Support is, where we know any money that is donated to us, it goes, it's not, like with a larger charity, that you don't really know where your money's going to. With us and with these two, we know we're literally, these are charities that have just begun and they're young and they need our help.
Right.
So
Right.
obviously I'm very passionate about all of them. And
Absolutely. And I love how, especially with the Express Yourself Milwaukee Foundation, that they have, this opportunity for kids to better themselves.
Yep.
And this will be a lifelong change in their life. And I believe seeing something from the start, learning a skill in the midst of it, and then
and
using
learning
it.
an instrument, they'll be able to use that the rest of
Right.
their life. They could even go on to be, they could be doing sound for a movie. They could
Right.
be in an orchestra. They could be in the symphony. It can go wherever they want it to go.
And it teaches them too just how to work in a collective group.
Yep.
I like that, because no matter what they end up doing musically or not, they
Right.
still need to learn how to work with people and
To be a
that's-
team, to work together.
Yeah, it's
and
something that we're learning, I think, every day.
Yep.
At least me. And then I had the chance to meet Brad and Nick of Courage Milwaukee, and what they're doing is just really opening up their hearts and their homes to young that don't really have a choice in the matter of where they are or how their family reacts to that. So both
And
of
have
them
nowhere to
give-
go. They
Yeah.
don't know where to go.
Right.
So what they're doing is helping to give them a roof over their head, a clean bed to sleep in. I just thought of this. I haven't even talked to Brad about it, but I bet I could maybe even offer them, the kids, an internship in here, in the restaurant.
Right.
A job to just get themselves, kind of on their feet again too.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, if they have
there's
an
many.
interest, absolutely.
So now let's talk about Savage Support.
Right. Well, I think after you talking about it, I get the sense of commonality between all of these things, which
Yeah.
they're all totally different
Different.
situations, completely, and they all need the assistance that we're able to give. But it's all about being in a situation and not really knowing what to do next. And,
Yes.
And that's kind of the point with Savage Support, is just to help people along with those day-to-days that come up as they go through the rigors of breast cancer. And it is pretty rigorous. And one of the main questions people ask me, what can I do? Anything I can do for you? Let me know. And my answer was always like, when I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Yep.
I really don't know what's happening. It's a whirlwind of emotions and experiences and flooding of friends and family, which is fantastic, but everyone has opinions and ideas.
But on that note, Deanna, where you kind of came up with it is that, you had friends and family. A lot of these
Exactly.
people don't have friends and family to do all these things, so that's
Right.
where we come in.
And even it's a lot of, I don't want to say pressure, but it's a lot of strain on a relationship to be there to clean the cat box every single day.
Yeah.
And, do like grocery shopping or meal cooking or maid service. Those are the things we provide that usually fall onto the family or the friends. And there's a lot of family and friends out there, and there's people that maybe are from a different area that don't have that, but we're here to just give them a little more control over their life with offering the services so they don't feel exhausted and have to clean the kitchen floor or worry about shopping for organic produce. They can have it delivered to them immediately, or anything, if they're interested in nutrition counseling to figure out how to do better in their life. It's
Well, and they're
open-ended.
also worried. I mean, they don't know what their sentence, they don't know what the outcome of this is. They have so much worry on their plate already. I think it's really nice for us to be able to take away of those mundane, everyday things that
Right.
they don't have to worry their mind about that.
Right, and I think also it's something I'm excited about is just working with local companies to provide these services.
Yes.
So it's not like me cleaning or anything.
Right.
Which, I could do a mean job, but it's supporting the community, not only with, extending a hand to people who might need it during breast cancer, but then also supporting, the small business owner and connecting. So that's the passion.
Getting back to the
Yes.
recipe, our meat is ground.
That didn't
And
take very long at
no,
all.
and that was 5 pounds. So your home recipe that will be on the bottom of the site will be just for probably about a 6-serving recipe.
So what I'm getting from this is don't walk away from the stove.
Right now, yeah, until
Stay
it's ground.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I added salt, pepper, and
Okay.
some dried herbs. I added some some basil and oregano. And then now I'm just going to add some heavy whipping cream. And you can definitely
Why
use
not?
milk. I like to do the heavy whipping cream.
I'm going to add a little wine.
I think I'm going to need a little sip too. And we can talk about the wine too. We have a very good friend of us.
The Peterson
Friend of ours.
family, and I say it as family because
Yeah.
this is a family winery founded by the wine grower Fred Peterson. Currently, Jamie as the winemaker, and I know his wife and his family will be involved in it as well, and then Emily, who's working at national sales. So I love the Peterson family.
Yep, it's a great winery.
Yes.
Fun to visit.
My first day on the job was going to a Peterson wine dinner, so it's literally near and dear to my heart from the start.
So what we're going to do is just
Yeah.
let this reduce. So this is kind of where the layering comes from. At first we had the garlic and the olive oil, then your vegetables. You want to sweat those a little bit to release their juices, their flavors. And then we brown the ground lamb. And then now we're adding the cream. We're going to let this reduce a little bit. We may have to rush it because of our time restraint. But then we will add red wine and let that reduce. And then we'll add the tomatoes. So
And then we'll eat it.
and then we will eat it. But what I will do is then I will let it continue to go for
Okay.
probably about 4 hours today. That's what really a traditional bolognese should be cooking for.
Oh, cool.
So in here I have a little bit of, and this is my own recipe. Like this is what we've served at the restaurant before. So I have some bay leaves. I have some garam masala, which is cinnamon, cumin, cloves, cardamom, and one other thing allspice. I got them, all
No
6.
wonder I love this dish so much.
And then also some sticks of cinnamon, and I'm going to add these.
Whole thing in.
I'm also adding a few of the pieces of clove, and then I'm going to add some bay leaves, and then I'm going to add this garam masala.
Yeah.
And again, what you've seen me add is for a 5-pound batch of lamb. So, you know, again, your normal recipe won't have that much in it.
Fucking smidgens, pinches,
Yep.
almost.
Because it is very strong. But I think it just adds a really lovely flavor to the dish. Some people ask, like, why do you add milk? That seems weird, you know? If you don't, the milk adds a little bit of creaminess to it, but when you see the finished product, you won't even know that there's any cream in there. But really the difference is, otherwise it would just be like a regular ragu, it'd just be a tomato sauce. You know, there wouldn't be, you know what I mean? So this is adding a whole nother depth of flavor to it. And like I said, once it reduces and the dish is done, you don't even know there's cream in it, but except by the flavor. You know, I mean, you can tell that extra kind of fattiness. And you can definitely add, I mean, I've made it with skim milk before too. Is it as good? You know, probably not, but
No.
you know, if you're gonna do this, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that
Yeah.
whipping cream.
And then I'm gonna add
Heavy
some
cream.
tomato paste. This will just kind of help thicken it up a little bit and also help sweeten it a little because the tomato paste is really concentrated tomato. And then if you want, Deanna, you could start just chopping some parsley.
Okay.
And so what you can do is just take this and you're just gonna start. And
Okay.
just kind of like so, and you can go
That.
big.
Okay.
And then, actually that's probably enough.
Okay.
And then you're just
Thanks.
gonna chop this.
All right. I can do it.
And you don't have, not really super fine, and actually you can add some basil to it too, since you're
Great.
chopping. And just take, like so, just put the leaves, you just don't want the stems. And then you can chop it all together. And you can
Okay.
probably use all of that,
Okay.
okay?
Start there.
Then I'm just gonna mix in this tomato paste. And then I'm gonna, once that's in, I'm probably gonna add the white wine. And then Deanna also has in the month of September 10th is gonna be your dinner.
Yes.
And we are
Can't
doing,
wait.
traditionally we've done 3 courses. I think with you we're doing 3 courses, but we're going to have you pair the wines for the dishes.
Awesome.
Which, so on that note, Deanna, you can tell everybody a little bit about what your career is and how you got there.
Well, my
And I'm so
career.
glad I've been a part of that. Like, she's going to tell you what she does, you guys, but I'm just going to say this. She used to carry around a big encyclopedia this thick.
And I still
so
should,
she knew every
maybe, but-
answer.
Well, now I just ask everyone else. There's always changing. But what I do is I sell wine for a national distributor, but it's a local company here in the greater Milwaukee area. That's where my accounts are. And I have a few retailers and restaurants too that I go on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis and visit, set up wine dinners, find something new for their menus or to feature or figure out what kind of spirit they might want from me. So it's fun. I mean, every day it's different. Every day it's something, you know, entirely maybe new to me that I learn about. And the company is really big on education too, so that's why I say it's like you can
Well,
never
you-
know everything.
And you just got back from a trip that you won, right?
I did,
Which I haven't heard
yes.
about yet.
Ah,
So,
I went to Portland
Yeah.
at the Elk Cove Vineyard. Oh my gosh, they do a distributor retreat every year, and by some lucky draw, I got to go. And it was from top of the mountain vineyards with barrel samples, tasting from that single vineyard, what it's going to be like for the next release, basically. And then the last day doing Category 5.
Rafting? Whitewater
Whitewater rafting. Yeah, and I jumped off a cliff and made it alive. I thought I might have broke something, but I didn't. So yes, it's kind of the greatest job in the world. The way I started was I was working at a Vino 100 part-time, and I would see people coming in. In fact, I would see this one woman in particular who was my mentor, which she didn't know. Amy Grillo, you know Amy.
Yep.
and I had the opportunity to work with her for a bit, and just watching her come in and do the presentations of wine and show them to the owner and then make the
Just going to
selections
interject.
that way.
I'm adding the red wine now.
You better. Good timing. I just thought, hey, that's a job. Like, people actually carry around a bag of wine and make a living at that. So I did a couple of training schools with the Midwest Wine. Jessica Bell was in charge of that. Is this good? Or am I not good? And then fortunately got a job with a small distributor called Swiss Cellars, and they did have Swiss wine along with a lot of old world options. And then I went to a little bigger company, and then now I'm here where I am 10 years later. It's been fun. I love it.
It's been fun learning from you too. I'm fortunate enough that since Deanna and I are personal friends, I get to reap the benefits of a lot of her fun trips and just your knowledge of wine. I mean, I've learned so much from you. So it's been fun for me too to be a part of that,
and then
benefiting from her job.
My weekly samples. Those aren't bad either.
Yeah.
Because I never pour
Someone
them all
has to
out.
try them.
Right. What do you think of this one? Yeah, it's a good way to learn and keep it fresh.
Cool.
So yeah, that's my job.
So you can take this, Deanna, and you can put it right in.
Do you want me to bring the whole board over? Is that how you work?
You can just, if you
I
want. So what I do is I use my knife as almost like a spatula.
All right.
Since I have it on, I'm just going to take it.
You should. Looks better over there. I'd be like, wow.
And again, this is just another layer of flavors that we're adding. So it's very, very simple dish, but it is really, really good.
And I mean, there's some really particular things in there that I would not have picked to do. Like, I wouldn't know to put milk or cream in there.
Right.
And I wouldn't think about putting clove.
Well, and a lot of people
cinnamon
don't use
sticks.
lamb. A lot of people just use beef.
My family didn't use
Or
lamb.
pork, you know, I mean, so I think the lamb is also a really good, I love lamb, and it's for someone that maybe can't, or not that you can't afford, or, you know, maybe doesn't know how to cook lamb chops. This is a good way to have lamb that, you know, you're still getting the flavor and it's easy to make.
I always leave my meat cooking to the experts. That's you and others.
So now this just simmers away, and then we'll just kind of let it, you know, simmer, and then I'm going to add the tomato, and then from there we will be done. And then here is we made a little bit of, we have an egg. This is our homemade pasta. It's a tagliatelle. So on these thick noodles. I think though what we decided is we're going to serve it on a ziti.
Yes.
So, and then, so this is my normal recipe, and how Deanna wanted to, she loved it. So what she wanted to do, just to kind of make it a little different, is add mushrooms to it. So these are baby portobellas, which is also called a cremini mushroom. And if you want to start slicing these, Deanna, and just kind of, you just want, just like so.
Okay.
And then we will add those also probably I think we'll add those separate, because some people don't like mushrooms, but for your dish in September, the whole dish will be served with mushrooms.
Let's sneak them in there anyway. Just kidding. Sometimes people just don't like mushrooms. I don't get it. Oops. Yeah, we used to do, as a kid, you know, there were 7 of us children, so we wouldn't get the baby portobellas or the lamb. I don't know why.
Who would cook it? Who did the cooking?
This was a mother thing.
Yeah? Oh,
yes.
Cool. Very cool. I mean, we're talking about Savage Support, Deanna, and I mean, what triggered it in your mind to come up with this idea to start this nonprofit? And I know, but if you don't mind sharing.
Oh, no, I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing, is bringing awareness. My hair just stood up.
Aw, I love it. Well, I suppose what happened was, while I was going through this experience of breast cancer, it sucked. You know, it was terrible. Chemotherapy first. I didn't have to do radiation, thankfully, but I did have a bilateral mastectomy. of which I was quite nervous about, as I think anybody would be. And I had so much support from my family and friends, like unbelievable support. And people came out of, I don't want to say the woodwork, but they came out of areas that I hadn't been to or seen them for so long. But anyway, the point is that I had a lot of friends and family, and I think being a veteran and going to the VA for my care was also sort of a double bonus, if you could even call it that. So what happened was people wanted to do a fundraising event for me, and I was sort of uncomfortable with the idea just because I was well cared for. I were
really uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, I was uncomfortable with it. And I can understand why other people would be too. It's just a lot of attention and bringing something to the forefront and who's ready for it and who's not. But instead of doing a fundraiser for me to go to Portugal, because that's what would have happened, I thought there's got to be a way to give back to people that are going through this experience that maybe didn't have the extra income to get a maid service or didn't have the ability to have friends and family cook them dinner or take care of them or change the sheets or whatever it was that came up that I was just too exhausted for as a single woman. So I thought there have to be more people in this area that could use this kind of assistance. So with the very first fundraiser, the inaugural fundraiser, it was at the Ruby Tap in Wauwatosa. I think it was a great success. We raised a lot of money, like a good amount of money to get started on this. From there, we just haven't looked back, and we're learning all the time, and we've lost 2 beneficiaries, which really breaks my heart.
Yes.
And I know it breaks yours, and we're just trying to do better and give people the best
I feel
quality.
that we definitely helped to make their life better.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
We definitely had a very positive influence on their life.
Yeah, and the idea is just to be non-invasive
Yes.
on it.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to feel like they have to talk to me every day or like talk to any of us necessarily. It's more about what do you need and how can we help provide it to you at no cost. And there's a lot of people in the neighborhood that want to do something, and everyone seems to know someone who's gone through breast cancer, and it just seemed like a great way. I couldn't find another foundation that does this exactly. So we created one, and the name came up from Mark Browning, I think.
Yep,
He came
who's
up
our
with
treasurer.
He's our treasurer, and his son came up with the logo, and my niece Anna Trokin has been doing all of the graphics and making us look professional as we are. It's just, have that media out. And Brandon Reed, who's our nonprofit advisor, is seriously a godsend. I mean, the way that
He's
we
an
were
angel that was
connected
sent to us.
he is, yeah. The way that we were connected with him just so randomly at a dinner through a friend of a friend, and his whole mission with Reed Community Consulting is to help nonprofits get started, because that is the hardest part, I believe.
Yes.
It was daunting.
It was daunting.
So he just made sure we have everything legit, that we do things according to the book, and is constantly helping us.
I don't think we could have, yes, we could have done it without him, but he made the process so much easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. He made it undaunting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not totally undaunting.
No, it's a lot of responsibility, and for me, the whole thing is about the beneficiaries and providing what they need, and not over-promising and under-delivering, but just to be a solid source for them.
Yep.
To have some kind of control over what's going on that they have no control over.
So, on that note, I'm going to saute some of these mushrooms off. I'm going to start the pasta, and we'll plate the dish. So,
Yum.
I'm going to get this going. My handy dandy little stir here.
It's good to drink Sauvignon Blanc when we cook.
And then we will saute some mushrooms.
Good thing I'm wearing a chef coat, or people might not think I'm cooking.
You can give that a stir.
Ooh.
Be careful, it may splash up at you.
Okay. Gosh, it smells amazing. So here's a silly question, I think, on my end. When I simmer something, it's not simmering like this.
I have it on a hard, like a rapid boil because I'm trying to cook it faster.
Oh,
Once we serve it and everything, I'm gonna let this simmer literally for 4 hours.
okay.
So I can actually, I can start to turn it down a little bit.
I'm making it's a bit of a mess.
That's okay. So over here I have a little bit of the cremini mushrooms with some garlic, salt and pepper. You always want to season everything that you're cooking. I'm gonna add a little tiny bit of chili flake to this.
I like it hot.
I know you like it hot. This I know.
So why not just throw the mushrooms in there?
Because I'm gonna serve this over the weekend, and I would rather get these nice and get the flavor out of them and add the sauce to it.
Ah.
So,
Okay.
or not the weekend, the week's just beginning. It'll be served this week. Otherwise, the mushrooms are going to kind of become mute. Mute. I mean, they're just going to take on the flavor of the sauce.
Makes sense.
And so, even for your dish in September, we'll saute the mushrooms separately. So they get a nice flavor, and they're on their own seasoning.
Okay.
And then we'll add the sauce to it. And then also, just in case someone doesn't want mushroom, we can do it that way
Makes
too.
sense.
So that's a restaurant version. You got to kind of be able to make everybody happy.
Right.
So, I think we were talking about Brandon, or did we finish that? We did.
I don't know, did we? Yeah, he's super helpful.
Yeah.
That's for sure. He's a good guy on top of it. And he's here. I forget how long he'll be here, but his wife is a doula in South Africa, and so he splits his time between that area and Milwaukee. And he does a few online
Could you
courses.
reach me a ladle from over here?
I would love to.
And then I think we should. I'm gonna
Ladle.
All right. I'm gonna add some of the sauce.
And back.
And then I'm going to add the pasta right to it. And with this fresh pasta, it only takes a few minutes to cook, which is nice. And I didn't show this, but Deanna actually saw me literally cut the pasta into.
Love it.
All right. And then if you want to just grab one of these white bowls, we can plate it right in there.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Get away from the hot.
That's a hearty pasta.
Delish.
All right. And we'll just this and maybe garnish it with a little basil. Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And
it
we'll grab
smells.
some forks and have a little taste. All right, cheers everybody.
Cheers.
Here's our finished dish of lamb ragu with cremini mushrooms. Yummy. We'll be featuring this the whole month of September. And again, the proceeds go to Savage Support, Courage Milwaukee, and Express Yourself Milwaukee. And Deanna will have her personal dinner, will be September 10th. So please call the restaurant, 414-276-8867, to make a reservation.
And it's limited to 20 people?
We are
right?
limiting it to 20 people. We want it
Okay.
nice and intimate, and so it's limited to 20. And please make a reservation though, so that we can, have accurate counts. And Deanna will also be doing a personal wine pairing for
Yes.
the event. And the dinner, I believe, is $45. So,
Fair.
all right?
Excellent.
Cool. Well, thank you, Deanna, so much for being a part
Oh
of
my
this. I
gosh,
love you.
Thank you. I love you.
Mwah. Thank you. And thanks everybody for joining us.
Thanks.
And our next up is Beth Kumbo which is an artist from Kenosha and also a personal friend of mine. And she will be Miss October. So she will be up next. So make sure and watch our next episode of International Women's Series. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.